So good morning, everyone. My name is Rita Larkin. I am the Communications Director for the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation. I am super excited to be here today because this is our year in review when we get to celebrate all the things that you have made possible on the Parkway, all the projects and trail repairs and everything that your donations go towards and enhance the Parkway for everyone who comes to visit. So it's my pleasure to introduce the man who oversees all of this work for the foundation. I'm going to turn you over to Kevin Brandt, our project manager. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rita, and welcome to the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation's Year in Review. Well, 2021 has been quite a year. Despite the hardships caused by the pandemic, you embraced your park. You explored its natural splendor. You rediscovered its history. Your uplifted efforts are making it a better place for all. In this presentation, we'll share some of the highlights of 2021 made possible by you, our community of stewards. Remember, you can always post your questions using the button at the bottom, as well as looking for additional links in the chat box for more detailed information. Well, we'll start with Flat Top Manor, the summer home of Moses and Bertha Cohn. Sadly, Moses passed not long after the house was completed, but Bertha continued to return each summer for nearly 40 years. In case you had forgotten how far the manor house had fallen, this is a visual reminder of how it looked at the end of 2020. With funds from our community of stewards and the National Park Service, all the windows, columns, balustrades, and railings were carefully removed and inventoried before being sent to a shop in Greensboro, North Carolina for repair and repainting. This was perhaps the first time since construction was completed in 1908 that such a total restoration had been undertaken. 14 months later, Flat Top Manor is an impressive sight to see. In addition to the repair and repainting of all the exterior surfaces, the cedar shingle roof was replaced with a composite shingle that has a 50-year warranty. A lightning arresting system has been restored to the building, and the brick chimneys have been repointed and repainted. Further, during restoration, 3 areas of structural weakness were discovered and corrected: at the porte cochere, the portico, and over the second floor pediment and windows. Even the rear of the north elevation of Flat Top has been transformed from dilapidated to dazzling. Gone are the temporary supports of the rear porch, rotten porch decking, and deteriorated siding. What I really appreciate about this project, though, is how it is revealing for the first time in decades the intricate detailing of the original neoclassical architecture. Up close and personal, you can see why this project was so desperately needed. Each of the fluted columns serves a structural purpose as well as an aesthetic one. Whenever possible, original materials were retained and repaired to serve the original intent. In addition, each part of the column, the base, shaft, and capital, were all disassembled, numbered, and returned to their original location. The details on this ionic order capital was nearly totally obscured by dozens of layers of paint. Not all the capitals were alike in both materials and design. Some were wood, while others were cast aluminum or concrete. The scrollwork and detailing varied subtly between the columns and the capital, depending on when they might have been repaired or replaced in the past. Here you can see the details in the scrollwork and other detailing that was barely visible prior to restoration. In addition, you can faintly see the horizontal mold marks in the concrete casting of the capital. Isn't this an amazing transformation? For each dormer, like everywhere else on the manor, every square inch of the exterior was examined for decay, and when found, it was repaired or replaced. If you're interested in seeing more side-by-side comparisons, look for the link in the chat box. With all the exterior work complete, including repairing and repainting the porch floor and beadboard ceiling, visitors can once again enjoy this amazing view. It's worth noting that the foundation provides support to the National Park Service so that they can keep an interpretive ranger on duty during the spring and fall shoulder seasons, as well as providing janitorial service at the carriage bar and comfort station for the spring and fall shoulder seasons. And if you visit Bass Lake during the winter, we also provide janitorial service to the comfort station at the Bass Lake parking area in Blowing Rock. If you're not able to visit Flat Top Manor in person, remember you can always tour the house with our 3D Matterport tour. Look for the link in the chat box. Without the support from our community of stewards and funding from the National Park Service, this project would not be the success that it is. Well, the Bluffs is back at long last. The Bluffs Restaurant welcomed diners for its first full season following the extensive renovations completed in 2020. The rehabilitation paved the way for the new operators, Heritage Dining and Events, LLC, to serve more than 27,000 guests from May through mid-November. Although the restaurant operated at no more than half capacity and had reduced hours of service, friendly smiles and outstanding food welcomed guests to the Bluffs' first season. During this first season, they hosted numerous small and large groups as they came by to remember their earlier experiences at the Bluffs, as well as to introduce a new generation to this special landmark. We even held a special event to welcome federal co-chair Gail Manchin of the Appalachian Regional Commission. The commission, along with the North Carolina legislature, the National Park Service, and more than 500 individual donors among our community of stewards, helped make the rebirth of the Bluffs a reality. Of course, Chef John and a small cadre of sous chefs turned out a wide variety of delicious menu items, including the red velvet waffle, house Reuben, and fresh hand-cut French fries. But it was no surprise that the classic fried chicken was the most popular item on the menu, with nearly 5,500 servings dished up. But it was clear it wasn't just the food that brought guests back to the former coffee shop that closed in 2010. They came to relive their memories and to make more with their loved ones. Many were surprised to see just how much the interior of the circa 1949 building matched their recollections. For those of you who visited the Bluffs this season, you know that the wait time varied considerably. Starting next year, visitors to Doughton Park, the largest recreation area within the Blue Ridge Parkway's boundaries, will be able to learn about the area's hiking trails and historic cabins and cemeteries with a new map and guide. With details about important sites and a map highlighting more than 30 miles of trails, visitors will be better equipped to explore and enjoy this gorgeous 6,300-acre area. Looking forward, the great news is that Sharon Pinney, owner of Heritage Dining and Events, and Chef John Gamrett will be back next year. They look forward to creating a welcoming environment with delicious food and decadent desserts and more of that famous fried chicken. You can find more information about the Bluffs 2022 operating season when it's available on their website. Look in the chat box for the link. This past October, the Foundation and the Blue Ridge Conservancy unveiled new displays at the Middle Fork Greenway in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. The signage commemorates Camp Catawba and the work of its director, Dr. Vera Lockman, a Jewish refugee of Nazi Germany, who started and operated it from 1944 to 1970. In addition to typical outdoor activities, the summer camp for boys was known for its cultural programs. The campers acted in plays, performed in an orchestra, and even sang in a choir. Your support made it possible for us to bring these stories to a larger audience through this project. We hope you'll stop by the trailhead of the Middle Fork Greenway in front of the Tanger outlets to learn more about the camp, which became part of the Parkway in 1985. So, did you know that elk can run up to 45 miles per hour? Or that black bear cubs stay with their mother for 18 months learning to hunt and survive? Thanks to your gifts, new exhibits are now sharing fascinating facts and more with visitors at the Waterrock Knob Visitor Center at milepost 451.2. The attractive panels and displays installed in September are replacements for time-worn, outdated, and in some cases, makeshift displays that previously occupied the space. Another panel, developed with the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians, tells this Cherokee story of how the world was made, which describes the buzzard creating the peaks and valleys with its wings in both Cherokee, syllabary, and English. The Waterrock Knob Visitors Center is closed for the winter, but the new exhibits will be available to visit again in the spring of 2022. In the mid-1930s, the Blue Ridge Parkway was born. As Rock Castle Gorge became part of the National Park Service's plan to lure tourists to the Blue Ridge, farm families living there had to be moved. Parkway officials set about acquiring their land, but the story does not end there. Though generations removed, Rock Castle descendants today work to hold on to their past through photographs and stories. In Rock Castle Home, descendants and others teach us about indigenous peoples, settlers, and the Depression-era farmers who lived on land in the gorge long before the arrival of the Parkway, and how even invisible home places can remain sacred. The foundation was pleased to help support the release of this award-winning documentary as we strive to tell a broad spectrum of stories about the Parkway and the communities of the Southern Appalachians. If you missed it on your local PBS station, you can find it at the link in the chat box. Your gifts in support of the Trails and Views Forever program gave a diverse crew of young adults a step forward in the natural resource industry. Organized by Conservation Corps North Carolina and comprised of 5 AmeriCorps members of color, the team honed their trail restoration skills through training sessions and made critical repairs along the Tanawha Trail near Julian Price Memorial Park this summer. The Conservation Corps North Carolina organized the 4-month-long session for the crew. The Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation, the National Park Foundation, and the North Carolina Commission for Volunteerism and Community Service contributed funding to support the members' living stipends, professional training, and support. The crew learned basic outdoor skills like how to set up a tent, start a campfire, and otherwise enjoy being in the out of doors. They learned first aid and CPR and were taught how to safely and properly operate a chainsaw. They started out with smaller trail repair projects like rebuilding eroded areas and setting water bars before taking on a bigger challenge. This is what became known as the pit, a stretch of the trail that was completely washed out by intense rainfall. This project required that stone had to be chiseled to precisely fit and then stacked to withstand the elements. The pit was no easy task, but with expert guidance and a positive attitude, the crew persevered and prevailed. Because of their successful completion of the 4-month program, they are qualified and more competitive candidates for permanent positions with the National Park Service and other land management agencies. The crew also earned trail building credit from McDowell Technical Community College, as well as certification in chainsaw operation. In 2021, Kids in Parks celebrated a major milestone. The national program surpassed 1 million adventures completed by children on its track trails found along the Blue Ridge Parkway and in parks across the country, demonstrating its success in inspiring kids to experience the outdoors. Kids in Parks provides opportunities for children and families to get active in nature with help from printed brochures and online e-adventures. Track trail guides help children identify trees and birds, seek out animal tracks, and inspect insects, among other enriching exercises. The ease of the hikes and educational materials provide a positive introduction to outdoor activities, even for first-time adventurers. To find a Kids in Parks e-adventure or a track trail near you, or as you plan your next family adventure, check out the link in the chat box. The Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation is the programming partner with the National Park Service at the Blue Ridge Music Center near Galax, Virginia at milepost 213 on the Parkway. The foundation organized and presented 13 outdoor concerts at the Music Center this past year, with thousands of attendees enjoying great traditional mountain music in a spectacular mountain setting. But there's more, a lot more than the summer concert series happening at the Music Center. A Place in the Band discussion series is a project of the Blue Ridge Music Center that began in 2020, honoring the 100th anniversary of women being granted the right to vote. North Carolina singer-songwriter Laura Lynn Dossett speaks with female musicians and women involved in music management and promotion to share their stories, talk about their experiences, and express their hopes for the future. Their individual stories highlight the collective strength and future possibilities for women in bluegrass and American roots music. The recording of A Place in a Band, Women in Bluegrass and American Roots Music virtual conference is now available on YouTube. The live midday mountain music sessions continued this last year under the breezeway that connects the visitor center and indoor theater. This free and informal series features local and regional musicians. You're invited to take a seat, listen to tales and tunes, and enjoy the cool mountain air. Midday mountain music is played from noon to 4 p.m. every day the music center is open, May through October. If you attended a concert at the Blue Ridge Music Center this past season, your ears were not fueling you. Something was different. Something was richer and better. Donations from devoted music center fans allowed the venue to replace aging amphitheater speakers with a new array, which made for even more dynamic sound from performers such as Cynthian, Amethyst Kia, the Becky Buller Bluegrass Band, the Joe Troop Trio, Tuba Skinny, and others. Look for more sound improvements next season. While the Music Center is open May through October, the music continues year-round with our On the Road series, when we partner with regional venues to host off-site performances, exhibits, conferences, and additional events. For more information about the Blue Ridge Music Center season and the On the Road series, check out the link in the chat box. So, who doesn't love watching a bear splash in a wallow? Through your ongoing donations, Parkway Natural Resource staff and volunteers placed motion-activated cameras at approximately 50 sites along the Blue Ridge Parkway in the Ridge, Plateau, and Highland districts to capture photographs of wildlife within the park. This helps park managers monitor populations and even discover previously unreported species. This year, the team was excited to find that long-tailed weasels were detected at 4 camera sites. These voracious predators, which eat a variety of smaller mammals and invertebrates, are fairly common along the parkway, but rarely seen. You can check out the link in the chat box to watch the bear take a swim. The discoveries, though, went beyond mammals and revealed 12 species of birds, including wild turkey, great blue heron, barred owl, red-tailed hawk, red-shouldered hawk, pileated woodpecker, American crow, and wood thrush. Look in the chat box for a link to the park's Flickr page for more shots from the wildlife cameras. And a special thank you to the donors and the 15 volunteers who contributed more than 350 hours towards this project. Biologists are gaining a greater understanding of wildlife distribution and behavior within the park and finding ways to provide safeguards for the animals and their natural habitats. All of us at the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation want to send out our thanks to this crew of volunteers at the Johnson Farm at Peaks of Otter, and every one of the dedicated volunteers who made the park an even better place to visit this year. It was inspiring to see so many people connect to the park they love in a hands-on way. From sharing mountain tunes and tales at the Blue Ridge Mountain Music Center to keeping brochures stocked from end to end, volunteers contributed thousands of hours to the parkway. We're looking forward to another successful season in 2022. The foundation will be hosting volunteer events throughout the park in places like the Bluffs and the Blue Ridge Music Center. If you would like a reoccurring volunteer role, please visit the National Park Service's Volunteers in Park program page at the link in the chat box. And now this, a parkway plate for both states. We're grateful to the thousands of North Carolina drivers who show their support for the Blue Ridge Parkway by purchasing or renewing their specialty license plate. In 2020, the North Carolina plate raised more than $500,000 for enhancement projects and visitor programs. Virginia drivers can now join their neighbors in North Carolina in supporting the Blue Ridge Parkway by pre-ordering the Commonwealth's own specialty license plate. We're accepting applications now. Together, the two plates can help fund natural resource protection, historical and cultural preservation, maintenance, repairs, and many more within the national park. As a resident of Virginia, I've submitted my application for the Foundation's specialty plate. I know it's going to help improve the parkway. If you're in Virginia, will you join me? To order your plate from either state, visit gettheplate.org or look for the link in the chat box. Finally, as we close out this year, a heartfelt thanks to our community of stewards for all that you have done for the Parkway in 2021. While this year has had its challenges, many great things have been accomplished through your passion and resources. We're hopeful and excited as we look forward to 2022 with the knowledge that the community of stewards will once again rise to the occasion of supporting the Parkway. To join us in helping the Blue Ridge Parkway, check out the link up to our webpage in the chat box. Rita, back to you and any questions that our audience has.
So I just wanted to tell everyone, thank you for attending. Some folks weren't able to see the links that we were putting in the chat box, but don't fear, we will include all of those links in our email that gives you a link to the recording of the entire webinar. So you will have all of those in one place and you can explore lots of different photographs and different information about what Kevin has presented today. We have a few questions that have come in. One of them is what's coming up in 2022 for the foundation.
All right, well, first of all, 2022 represents the 25th anniversary of the foundation. So there are going to be lots of celebrations and things to look forward in 2022. Not the least of which are things from our Trails and Views Forever program. There's going to be some trail work up at Humpback Rocks, I believe, and we're still working on that list of projects, but it's going to be a big year, and we're very much looking forward to it.
And we will hope to have a lot of events in different communities up and down the Parkway, and just check back on our events calendar to see where there's an event near you next year. And we are excited to celebrate this anniversary with everyone. Let's see. Next question. What was the most fascinating aspect of the renovations at Cone Manor?
Boy, there's been a lot. I think for me, it's been the revealing of the detailing in the structure. When you stood at the bottom of the steps and you looked at it, even before it was restored, it was an impressive structure. But when you see the detailing that has now been revealed, because all the railings and the columns were stripped down to bare wood. That was part of the process of doing the restoration work. And when it was repainted, you could really see the detail in there, and particularly the column capitals, but all the little dentiles along the cornice work really makes the building impressive, and makes me think that the architect who designed the building along with Moses Cone really had an appreciation for balance and symmetry. It's just a beautiful structure.
That's great. Yeah, I was quite wowed when I got to go up there and see it recently and see the copper around the top of the columns that had been unveiled. It's just amazing to see the detail up there. I love it. We had another question about other projects, Trails and Views projects, and I think you alluded to that. We're going to be doing some work at Humpback Rocks. We're going to be doing some vista clearing next year, hopefully providing that COVID restrictions don't hold us back. And then we also are working on a project at Mount Pisgah. We are fundraising for that right now. It is to replace the platform at Mount Pisgah. It's pretty old and has a lot of carvings from visitors in it. And it's just time for a new platform so you can see those great views up there. Let me see if we have any additional questions. Kevin, we have someone ask, what are the next projects on tap for Flat Top Manor in 2022?
Well, this particular project that was just completed dealt exclusively with the exterior of the building. And so one of the projects that we're investigating right now is the restoration of the railing that's along the carriage road there in front of the manor. It was not included in this last project, so we're investigating that. But as everyone knows, the interior has not been restored yet. And so there's work there to be done. But there's also a lot of work to be done on the grounds. I'm a landscape architect by training. And when I look at the original site plans for the estate, there was a lot of thought and effort put into the design as well as the maintenance. And so I think there's a pretty wide range of projects that could be taken on next to enhance the visitor's experience while they're visiting the estate.
Certainly true. 3,500 acres and 25 plus miles of carriage roads. It's a lot to think about and care for. So lots to do. Well, I think that wraps up our questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact us via the email that we're going to send out. That will have a link to the webinar recording on our YouTube channel. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and get notifications when videos come up. We do more than just the webinars. We also do hiking videos and things like that. So it's a good way to stay up to date on what we're working on. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you taking the time to learn more about how your gifts have impacted the Blue Ridge Parkway. And have a great weekend.